phone number.
You hear a lot of empty rhetoric from candidates. They tell you anything they want you to hear just so you vote for them. They have an excuse for every bad vote that they ever voted for, and it just absolutely drives me crazy. So I met Kathy at the Capitol. And I like to, okay, I'm a little weird, but for fun, I like to go down to the Capitol and follow specific pieces of legislation and that interest me, you know, be it whatever, transportation, healthcare, taxes, and usually it's a small business issue for me, but also a lot on healthcare too. And it seemed like every time I turned around, oh my gosh, there's that Kathy again. So I am
like being there too.
Thrilled to have, it's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. And you just never get the whole story unless you're actually there. And it's just, I would really encourage people to do it. Just go sit in that gallery and you can see what's going on and you can see the different legislators. I mean, you can watch it on TV too, but it's way better to be there. And the committee hearings, they're all open to the public, and I just don't think we take advantage of that.
I don't either. And I tell people all the time, the state of Minnesota website is phenomenal. It is a wealth of information. People should be spending more time looking at where they're wasting your money. But just going down to the Capitol and watching some of these people, I remember one hearing that I was at, people were like talking on their cell phones and they were reading, playing on their computers.
Have you ever seen anyone fall asleep?
Yes,
I've seen that.
I have seen them fall asleep. And you people in Minneapolis, why do you keep collecting that woman back into office? But okay,
no names.
Yeah, no names there, no names. But it's seriously, it's so interesting down there.
It really is.
And to see your legislators at work. That's why we need people like you, Kathy Lohmer.
Well, and at the caucuses this time, you know, as a candidate, of course, I gave my speech, and then I walked around to the rooms, and I asked if anybody had any questions, and I did have a gentleman ask me about gambling, and, you know, increasing gambling in Minnesota, and I'm sorry, I'm not for increasing gambling in Minnesota, so I had to, you know, say, I don't think you're going to, just based on your question, I don't think you're going to like my answer, but this is, you know, what you see is what you get with me. I'm not playing games. If I have to lie to get this job, if I have to do anything that's not what I believe, I don't want it. And I want people to know who I am and what I believe, so I appreciate the opportunity to be here doing that.
I'm glad you brought up caucus, because we did see a lot of districts where people were very excited about the candidates that they had. Yours was one of them.
Yeah.
And the organization, the excitement, the people, the candidates, you guys are really, really lucky out there. The piece that you handed out, and I don't know how well the viewers will be able to see this, but I encourage you to go to Kathy Lohmer's website, because it's a great piece, great lit piece.
Thank you.
And you don't always see a lit piece with that much information in it.
Right.
So I love it that a candidate is actually telling you, here's how I feel about this issue, and guess what, you can read more here.
Right.
Instead of the empty rhetoric and the whatever.
Right.
Let's talk about some of the other issues that you think are going to be important over at the Capitol. You talked about the marriage rally. You saw a marriage rally over at the Capitol.
Yeah, at the end of last session, we saw quite a few people at the last days of session, and they're back. So I'm just going to read this because I want to get it right. But there is pressure building in the DFL-controlled legislature to legalize homosexual marriage. At a minimum, supporters say they'll push for a hearing to redefine marriage. There's also a push...
Why do they get to redefine marriage?
I don't know. Not under my watch.
Thank you.
No, marriage is between a man and a woman.
Right, and hasn't that been shown in like 40 states now, where they've had a referendum
every time there's a vote, they lose. But they want to go to the legislatures.
I thought it was always the right that brought that. You know, wasn't the right the side that was divisive and brought all these social issues up? It seems to me that's the left dragging that one up there.
Yeah, I would say so.
What did we start the show off, the cable show off with? Spending, taxes, regulations.
Right.
There's priorities, and there's priorities.
I would just like us to get back to what the Constitution says, and core and essential services for government. I mean, we have just gotten so far away from that. We think the government is the answer to everything, and that we need a government program, or, you know, wouldn't this be nice? Wouldn't this be nice? Well, wouldn't it be nice to go to Hawaii? Would you like to go to Hawaii?
Please. Very much so.
Especially right now.
Yes.
But can you afford it? I mean,
No.
I don't know, maybe you can, but maybe you can't. If you can't,
That would
you
not
won't
be in
go.
my budget.
So you won't go.
Please, can the state of Minnesota send me to Hawaii, though?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Our welfare dollars have been spent in every single state, including Hawaii.
I
So
know.
go figure. I don't really know how that
Incredible.
works. Alaska,
Incredible.
Florida. Yeah. So we talked about, too, the another push for the condom-based sex education that's in the works.
Yeah, and let's go to the other one first,
Okay,
and
go
we'll
ahead.
come back and,
Okay,
and go into education, because there's a lot on education that we need to touch on. But medical marijuana is back
Yes.
on the table. How do you feel
Yes.
about that?
I don't think that we should legalize that drug. I'm sorry.
Me
No,
either.
I'm not for it.
Me either.
Right.
Leave my black market alone.
There you go. I love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
And you know, people, I don't care about medical marijuana. I don't want to give the government another source, another revenue source for
Right.
me.
Right.
You know, and that's where
That's
I
a
come
really
from.
good point,
The role
yeah.
of government. Government has no business legalizing or not legalizing marijuana.
I agree.
None.
Totally agree
so,
with that.
And
Very
of
good.
course, that's pretty polarizing too. There's a big group of people that support it and a big group of people that don't. But we could do a whole show on that
Yeah,
one.
right, right.
Education is huge for me, and I was pretty happy with Freudian slip there, Governor Pawlenty, his last State of the Union before he goes off to run for president, where he said K through 12 funding was off the table for spending cuts. That irritates me, because I don't know if he got the memo, but the state's broke. We're in the hole. We're borrowing money from the school districts, which is probably why he took education off the table. But in my opinion, with the budget deficits that we're having now, we have to look at everything. Everything's on the table. What
Right.
do you think, Kathy?
Right. Well, you know, I just have, personal experience in my district with a charter school that is educating kids for about $6,000 per year versus $10,000 to $15,000 per year.
More in St. Paul and Minneapolis.
Right. Right. Why can they do that? And you know what? They have discipline in that school. Do you know that in this school, it's called St. Croix Prep, that you can't pass from first to second grade until you've mastered first grade?
What?
Can you imagine that? And all the way along the line.
That would probably take care of the achievement gap if we had that in our Minneapolis and St.
Right.
Paul schools.
Right. They're doing something right at that school. The teachers love teaching there. They are given free rein to teach the core subjects. They're not told that they have to do all the social engineering. They don't have to follow all of those things, but they get to teach kids how to read and how to write and history and patriotism and good things about our country. And I'd like to see lots of changes in education. I think the money that we're wasting, and where's it going?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's not getting the results that the people of Minnesota should be demanding.
Absolutely. And I did like what Governor Pawlenty said about tenure and tying teacher results to classroom results, and rewarding teachers for good outcomes with their students. I think there are some good things that he had to say. Money maybe not so much, but other things.
Yeah,
So.
I don't like QComp, but you know what?
Okay.
QComp is rewarding the teachers plan.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we're going to talk about that on the next cable show that
Okay.
we have, and we, that's a valid point. A lot of the viewers don't understand the different programs.
Right.
And you use the word QComp and you think, wow, what's that? And then you hear the description, it sounds so nice. Oh, well, of course I support that. And then you hear the details and you're like, oh my gosh, and what
Right.
is that?
Right.
So that would be
Yeah.
interesting for the next time. We'll tell people what QComp is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times the bonding bill. It sounds really good. Oh my gosh, we're going to get a volleyball court and an ice rink and a sheet museum. But they don't tell you you're borrowing the money.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so the devil's in the details.